Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
Welcome to ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Airy, and we just got confirmation that a Thunderbolts movie is coming to the MCU. Now, we've made a few videos about this possibility in the past. We're very excited, and I bet you are too. We're going to explain who the Thunderbolts are, who's on the team, and who should be on the team. The movie will be directed by Jack Schreier. He did that Robot and Frank movie. Now, this follows Marvel's pattern of hiring indie directors to direct their big budget movies. This is because you don't need a lot of experience in action filmmaking to direct a Marvel movie. A lot of their action sequences are mapped out with their pre-viz process before they even have a screenplay. But they still need a human being to tell the other human beings how to make feelings on screen. The Thunderbolts is a group that is unlike anything else we have seen in the MCU up to this point. People keep saying they're the Marvel Suicide Squad, but that's not exactly true. See, the Thunderbolts first began during this 90s story called Heroes Reborn. Basically, all the heavies, like the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, they were all sucked into another dimension, so everyone in the Marvel Universe thought they were dead. So a new team called the Thunderbolts showed up and started picking up the slack for the missing Avengers. Now, the public gradually accepted this new super team, but it turned out that they were actually a team of villains in disguise, led by Baron Zemo. Now, I don't think the movie's gonna have this kind of twist, because, well, I mean, we already know the twist. But there have been many other iterations of the team over the years. At one point, Norman Osborn became director of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he formed his own Thunderbolts team to act as a kind of Suicide Squad-like team of villains who did the dirty work that the heroes wouldn't touch. Now, during this time, Osborn was basically put in charge of all the government superheroes in an event called Dark Reign. Basically, after Civil War, Tony was put in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then he failed to stop a Skrull invasion, so the government put a former villain in control. And actually, given current events, that no longer seems unlikely in the real world. Dark Reign also gave us the Dark Avengers. This was another team of villains and anti-heroes disguised as good guys who were anointed publicly as the Avengers. So I think we're going to see an amalgam of these two teams in this movie. The events are very similar. After Endgame, the core of the Avengers is broken, with Tony and Natasha dead, Stephen Clint retired, Thor's off finding himself, and Banner is doing consulting work, Wanda's a villain now, Vision is White Vision somewhere, and War Machine is just waiting around for Kevin Feige to call him. So we don't have right now an official Avengers team or even an official Avengers headquarters. Just this random dude. Who the hell is this guy anyways? So with the Avengers gone, this is a perfect opportunity for Thunderbolt Ross to step in and flex his muscles. Ross first entered the MCU in The Incredible Hulk, where he was hunting Bruce Banner because he wanted to use his blood to create an army of Hulks.
As far as I'm concerned, that man's whole body is property of the U.S. Army.
You'll remember that in that movie, he used a lesser version of the serum to give powers to Emil Blonsky.
Not a great plan.
Ross keeps popping up in the MCU attempting to control the heroes. He spearheaded the Sokovia Accords, he hunted Natasha, and he made the Avengers report directly to him in Infinity War. This is a guy who has always wanted his own team of heroes, and now he finally has his chance. Now, I should mention that the actor who plays Ross, William Hurt, recently passed away. Personally, I'm in favor of recasting almost any role in these movies because the characters should live on forever. Maybe Sam Elliott would reprise his role, or Brian Cox from Succession. He'd be a great Thunderbolt Ross. Or maybe the team could just be named the Thunderbolts in his honor if the character died in the movies. I mean, we know that he has a bad ticker, am I right?
5 years ago, I had a heart attack.
It also seems very likely that Ross's chief agent is going to be the former spy Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. Now, we've seen her pop up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Black Widow and kind of off-screen in Hawkeye. All we know about her is that she seems to have some security clearance and she hires out Yelena for assassin work. She's also not above bending the truth as she lies to Yelena about her target.
Maybe you'd like a shot at the man responsible for your sister's death.
Now, Val is going around the MCU, picking up all the cast-offs who don't quite fit in their own franchise, and she's gathering them for some purpose, probably to form the Thunderbolts. Now, we don't know exactly who is going to be on this team. According to Deadline, certain actors have been asked to keep their shooting schedules open. They did mention the following characters as possibilities: Zemo, USAgent, Ghost, Abomination, Taskmaster, Yelena Belova, and surprise, the Winter Soldier. So let's run through these choices. Zemo, perfect. We've made videos in the past about how he is basically the MCU's Batman now. He has a compelling, tragic backstory. He's rich, a man skilled in all means of contending, and he distrusts superpowered people. It's also hard to argue with the guy who makes this much sense.
The desire to become a superhuman cannot be separated from supremacist ideals.
Zemo is the perfect choice to lead the team because he's a brilliant tactician who hates soups. But it's more likely that Ross would want a soldier to lead his squad, someone like John Walker. Walker was forced to give up the shield of Captain America after he killed a man in cold blood. But Ross wouldn't see this as a negative. He would see that Walker is a man who did what he was trained to do. And of course, Walker's an idiot.
Well, let's put down the pointy sticks and we can talk this through, huh?
So I can see him and Zemo clashing all the way through this, becoming the Tony and Steve of this team.
Put on the suit. Let's go a few rounds.
Now remember, the last time we saw Walker, he was 100% Team Val and stoked to have a new uniform.
Thank you.
This character is a lot of fun, and I really can't wait to see what's next for him. Now, Ghost, you might not remember as well. Her real name is Ava Starr, and she gained the ability to become intangible in one of her father's experiments. Afterwards, she was basically raised by S.H.I.E.L.D. to become an assassin. Following the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D., she focused on curing herself from her disorder. At the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Team Pym is harvesting quantum particles from the quantum realm to stabilize her condition. But after the blip, they would have stopped. Now, maybe she spent those 5 years regressing and resenting the heroes for not helping her. Or maybe she blipped, and now her condition is just incurable and she's ready to help out to redeem her past sins. In either case, she's a great addition to the team. Now, Yelena Belova is a no-brainer. She's already working for Val, and she is arguably the best character introduced in Phase 4. She's hilarious, but also deadly. She has this terrifying undercurrent beneath her humor.
Sometimes you're funny, Kate Bishop.
Do you keep saying my whole name just to point out that you know it?
Yes.
Next up is the Abomination, who is the ultimate powerful character who's been benched for years. Guys, the MCU has just had a spare Hulk sitting around since 2008. He popped up again doing illegal cage fights with the Sorcerer Supreme in Shang-Chi, and we see him here in the She-Hulk trailer. Apparently, he's being kept in a special super prison in California. He's apparently also gained the ability to change into the Abomination at will, which will really save the studio a lot of money on CGI. It could be that in the She-Hulk series, she's going to sue the Avengers or the Hulk on behalf of Emil Blonsky, which might get him freed from prison. Taskmaster is Dreykov's daughter, who spent years as the mindless puppet of her father. She ended Black Widow wanting to redeem herself, and she could see this team, the Thunderbolts, as her best shot. It would be interesting to see her on the team if Winter Soldier also joins up, because he's been through this same thing, been brainwashed by an evil organization, and he could mentor her on how to get over her past trauma. Maybe she'll even become a wisecracking comic relief like the Taskmaster in the comics. And we might also see characters join this team who haven't even appeared in the MCU yet, like Titania from the She-Hulk series, or whoever Ms. Marvel's gonna square go with. There are a few other forgotten characters that I would love to see appear on the team. Now, if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canon, which it's not, then there are a couple of power characters who disappeared into the woodwork. There is Blizzard, this guy with ice powers from Season 1, and also Kyle MacLachlan's Hyde, one of the standouts of that show.
I was trying to put my family back together!
And on the Netflix shows, we had Diamondback from Luke Cage, and my favorite pick, Bullseye. Bullseye, aka Dex, was a former FBI agent who was groomed by Wilson Fisk to become an assassin. He has this ability to be incredibly accurate with any weapon and use any object as a weapon. In the Dark Avengers, he took on the role of Hawkeye, which makes sense because he and Hawkeye have very similar abilities.
It's full of bolts.
Whoa. The last time we saw Dex, the Kingpin broke his spine by slamming him into a wall, but that episode ended with him having surgery to repair his back. In the comics, he has a spine made of adamantium, which could be the case now since the X-Men films are right back with Marvel. We actually have a video coming out soon about how Hawkeye can return to the MCU. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss it. Now, I have another character that I would like to add to the team who is a bit of a stretch, but I think a lot of fun. Skurge the Executioner from Thor Ragnarok.
But wait, he's dead.
Sure. Dead. You know how these movies are. They could bring Skurge back in hundreds of different ways. The energy from Ragnarok rejuvenated him. He was never really dead. He fell into a wormhole. He attached himself to the side of the ship like Tom Cruise and survived and then was blipped. Look, he's an Asgardian. He's a badass.
Okay, so why Skurge?
Well, first of all, Karl Urban is great, and he was criminally underused in the MCU. Skurge is also a great character. We see that he has an affinity for Earth, especially Earth stuff.
Behold, my stuff.
He works for Hela during the movie, but redeems himself by the end of the film. Just like all the other characters in the Thunderbolts are looking for some kind of redemption for their past sins. I also think that we just need a god character in the show to kind of round out that Thor role. He would be the perfect addition to the team.
Why would he even join the team?
Because, like everyone else, he's got a bad past and is looking to redeem himself. I think he would also just be so thrilled to be on Earth and doing superhero stuff that he'd be up for just about anything. And another addition that I think is a no-brainer is Sam Rockwell's Justin Hammer. The last time we saw him, he was in prison, but this team would need a tech guy, someone to be the smartass in their ear. Maybe he could even pilot an Iron Man type drone that would constantly malfunction and cause various hijinks. But that's just my thoughts and predictions on the Thunderbolts. I want to hear from you guys down in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, be sure to subscribe and smash that bell. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.